Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. I'm going to play this video and talk about things that are going on, to explain what's going on, and talk about things that I think that are being done right and or done wrong. Here we go.
I'm Lieutenant Michelle Ramos with the San Antonio Police Department. This critical incident video release is intended to provide you with information, as the department currently understands it, about an officer-involved shooting that occurred on July 16, 2023 at the 6900 block of IH 35 North. I will walk you through the video relevant to the facts of this incident as we know them so far. Content of this video may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. At approximately 11 a.m., San Antonio police officers were at the location after receiving a tip that a suspect who was wanted for multiple felony warrants, including violent felonies, was staying at the hotel. After several hours of conducting surveillance, officers observed the suspect enter the vehicle he was known to drive. A detective, wearing a tactical vest that was labeled with police on the front and back, quickly approached and ordered the suspect to show his hands. The suspect fled from the detective on foot, at which point the detective observed the suspect holding a gun in his hand.
He's got a gun! He's got a gun!
As officers were chasing the suspect on foot, uniformed officers in two marked subdued patrol vehicles made the location in an attempt to assist in apprehending the suspect. The suspect continued to run towards the access road where the two patrol vehicles were approaching. Officers in the second patrol vehicle saw the suspect running in their direction with a gun in hand and drew their firearms. The officer driving the vehicle slowed down and shot twice through the windshield of the patrol vehicle, striking the suspect. At no time did the patrol vehicle hit the suspect. Here is body camera footage of another officer at the scene.
Drop the fucking gun!
What the fuck, guys? He's running.
Here is body camera footage of the officer who fired at the suspect.
Guys, he's running.
Okay, right here. Stop. He's got a gun! He's got a gun!
Here is a slowed down version of the suspect holding the firearm. Officers provided life-saving measures at the scene prior to EMS arrival. Suspect, identified as 30-year-old Adrian San Martin, was transported to a local hospital where he was pronounced deceased. Here is a slowed-down version of the patrol vehicle's dash cam. Investigations into deadly force are comprehensive and can take over a year. A reminder, this is our current understanding of the situation and could change as investigators gather more information. The San Antonio Police Department does not make any determinations as to whether procedures were followed until all facts are known. All officer-involved shootings are forwarded to the Bexar County District Attorney's Office for review. As of this publication, the investigation remains ongoing.
Okay, so
Officers in the second patrol.
So they're dealing with this guy who's got warrants, and he's a violent person. I mean, they clearly talk about it.
Video relevant to the facts of this incident, as viewer officers were at the location after receiving a tip that a suspect who was wanted for multiple felony warrants, including violent felonies, was staying at the hotel.
I would have liked if they would have expounded upon what these violent felonies were. And I really would have liked it if they would have expounded upon what his overall criminal history is. So when you look into these people, and I haven't even searched his name, I just played this video, and as I'm recording it, this is the first time I've watched it. Haven't, watched it and reviewed it a couple times or anything. Just watching it and commenting on it. But if I go look this dude up, I'm guaranteed to find some stuff on him. That's just the way it is. I mean, there's sometimes some dudes who have no backgrounds on them, but for the most part, a lot of them do. And it's sadly a recurring thing in this nation where people with multiple criminal convictions, felony convictions even, are in and out of the system almost their entire life. And they're basically given little slaps on the wrist. Like nothing serious ever happens to them. If they get sentenced, if they go to court and they're found guilty and the judge final sentenced them to 10 years, they are not doing 10 years. I mean, unless they go into the federal system. The federal system is a little bit different than state systems. But overall, with state systems, it's not happening. And I don't know the federal system very well. I'm sure there's probably some stupid stuff with the federal system, but the states, people get sentenced to 10 years. They don't do exactly 10 years to today. It doesn't happen. They get told that they only have to serve a percentage of that, and then they will be eligible for parole. And sometimes they go up for parole and they get it on the first try. Sometimes they get it on the second try. When they're given this percentage date, so let's say they're given 10 years and they give them a percentage to serve before they're eligible for parole. That gives them a maximum expiration date and a minimum expiration date. The maximum expiration date is that 10 years. The minimum expiration date for serving out is based off whatever percentage was given for that time frame. Let's say they gave them a percentage that meant they only had to serve 5 years, and then they'd be eligible. Well, then that minimum would go around that time frame. While they're in, as so long as they don't have any disciplinary reports sent up the chain to take away their good time, they automatically get time shaved off month by month just for being there. There are some lazy people who work in prisons and they do not write reports like they should. There are people who bring in contraband to the inmates. So the people who bring in contraband to the inmates, do you think they're writing them up and getting them in trouble and taking away their good time? Absolutely not. I guarantee you there is a crap ton of people who, if everything was done correctly and they were written up for everything they did, they wouldn't get hardly any good time. So many of them get to fly under the radar for, lazy staff not doing anything. And so they just get an automatic good time reduction in time, month by month. And then they get to take so many classes. They can take SAP, Substance Abuse Program. If they don't have a high school diploma, they can take a GED class. They take some other courses like MRT, Moral Recognition Therapy, classes on anger management, parenting, just basically attendance-based courses that really don't go heavy in any type of academics or anything. It's just a cheesy little workbook that comes with them, and literally they could do the same level of work that a fourth grader would do in these things. Just talk about their feelings and just, like I said, there's no real true academic stuff to it. It's just writing down, explain some times where drugs affected your personal life and your how it affected your job and your friends and family, and then when you get out or in the future, how are you going to do this and that? What do you need to do to do this? And it's just like stupid shit. and they get a passing score on it, and then they get so much time reduced off of their sentence. I mean, basically all they have to do for these classes is just show up. I mean, how hard is that? Like, what the fuck else you gotta do in prison? You got a busy schedule there, huh? So it's a given that they're going to have basically X amount of time to shaved off their sentence. And so month by month, the classification officers kind of reevaluate, some of the stuff that's going on with their good time and how much time's been shaved off with classes. And then sometimes those eligibility dates can change. And or the classes can really help their parole when they go up for it. So if someone's been given a final sentence of 10 years, there's a damn good chance they can get out in 5 or less. So, I know I kind of went off on a side chat right there. It happens. But yeah, so these dudes, they're in and out of the system their whole life, etc. And so I would not be surprised at all to find out if this dude had a similar kind of lifestyle where he was in and out of the system multiple times, was on probation. I actually wouldn't even be surprised if this dude was out on bond or was out on probation when he got all of these warrants. That sadly happens a lot. Like, dudes are on probation. Like, probation and parole is supposed to be coming up and checking on them and seeing what they're doing, and they're out running a criminal enterprise, selling dope and all kinds of crazy shit, and probation and parole has no idea. Anyway, I could rant and rant and rant about the failure of the criminal justice system, or rather the broken legal system, because there's really no criminal justice going on. But anyway, they're dealing with this dude who's got some serious stuff going on, and he's violent. So one of my chief complaints when it comes to these type of videos is officers neglecting to get rifles out when they need to be getting them out. This dude's a serious threat. The passenger in this vehicle definitely 110% needs a rifle. If you're going to dismount from your vehicle and you're going up against a violent felon, you want the best weapon possible. And the best weapon possible is a rifle or a shotgun. Either one is better than just a pistol. It could take fewer rounds from a rifle to rapidly incapacitate a threat than it can with a pistol. A pistol may take 5, 8, 10 rounds to incapacitate a threat. Because the pistol has a short barrel, and you really only have one place on that gun itself to hold on to, it's not very accurate, especially under stress. In comparison to a rifle that has a longer barrel, has multiple points of contact for you to hold on to that gun and have your body touching that gun and reducing as much movement overall in that gun as possible. There's a lot of missed rounds in gunfights involving pistols. And the terminal ballistics are night and day. They really are. All pistol caliber ammunition sucks. I don't care what caliber you have. All pistol caliber ammunition sucks in comparison to rifle. So, this guy definitely needed to have a rifle out. Another thing is his radio. He doesn't have a lapel mic on it. So that means he is now having to tie up his hands to operate this radio. This radio needs to be in a pouch attached to his belt or to his vest, whatever, and it needs to have a lapel mic attached to it. And then the end of that lapel mic could be clipped to his vest somewhere, and all he has to do is reach up, click, talk into it, and let go, and use that hand on whatever it is he wants to use his hand on. As it is right now, he has to keep a hand on the radio. So when he jumps out the car and he has to have a gun in his hand, he's going to have a radio in his other hand. So that means he's going to be potentially having to shoot his handgun one-handed. If you're down to shooting your handgun one-handed, you're basically slashing your accuracy in half. because the only place you have to hold on to a handgun is that handle of the gun. Your dominant hand goes around it, and then your non-dominant hand tries to wrap around part of your dominant hand and then also close up some of that gap in space that's left where your fingers can't just reach all the way around and touch your palm. That's it. That's all you've got to touch that gun with to help stabilize it as much as possible. You take that support hand away, it's like cutting your accuracy in half. Those are sucky odds. Like, why are you wanting to handicap yourself like that? Also, you run the risk of dropping your damn radio. You drop your radio and you're still running, and you can't, take the time to grab it back up or whatever. One, you've lost a sensitive item at that point. I mean, imagine someone finding a police radio on the sidewalk and then picking it up and talking into it and disrupting communications. That would suck, right? But that's, after the fact kind of stuff. Right there in the moment, you don't have a radio. You can't communicate to anybody because your damn radio's laying on the ground 100 yards away because you couldn't stop in time to get it. Or you may have started taking fire and you had to move to take cover somewhere. You're behind cover. Your radio's out there in the open. If you go out and get that radio, you're getting shot. So radios need to be in pouches and lapel mics need to be attached to radios. Lapel mics are necessary pieces of equipment when it comes to two-way radios in public safety. They are a necessary life safety piece of equipment. It shouldn't even be freaking optional for the most part to decide whether or not you're going to have a lapel mic on it. And in fact, I think they should just make the damn radios with the lapel mic built into it, like not even have the option to take the damn thing off. All right, enough ranting on the radio. Moving on.
After several hours of conducting surveillance, officers observed the suspect enter the vehicle he was known to. Police, on the front and back, quickly approached and ordered the suspect.
Notice his cell phone's here. So, going back into communications, you should be running PACE planning on for your communications. So PACE is your primary means of communication. A is your alternate form of communication. C is your contingency, and E is your emergency. So obviously the two-way radio is going to be his primary means of communication. That one of those cell phones is a work phone. One is a personal phone. That work phone needs to be on him. In the event that something happens to his radio, he can get his phone out and call dispatch, or he can call another officer. Dismounting and leaving the vehicle and leaving your work phone behind, that's like leaving your alternate communication form behind. So going back to what I was talking about with the two-way radio and him dropping it, something happening to it, well, if he would have a phone and he's far away from his radio, he can't call, can't radio in a dispatch. If he has his work phone on him, then he could do that.
Suspect to show his hands. The suspect fled from the detective on foot, at which point the detective observed the suspect holding a gun in his hand.
He's like, oh shit, bruh.
He's got a gun! He's got a gun!
As officers were chasing the suspect on foot, uniformed officers.
So he noticed the gun and he stops. Now, why does he stop? I'm not really sure. Is it because this officer down here, he believes this officer may shoot? And if he does shoot, let me back this up.
He's got a gun! He's got a gun!
So boom, officer's there, he's here, this guy's right there.
Officers were chasing the suspect.
So I think it's possible that he thought, oh shit, this other officer could shoot. I'm downrange. I need to get out of the way. So I think that's why he moves this way. I hope that's why he moves that way. The other reason why he could be moving this way is it registers in his head, oh shit, oh boy's got a gun. I don't really want to be that close to him. I'm going to kind of hold off and let him go. Hope that's not it. I don't think it's it. I think that with that officer that was standing right there, kind of in the open, I think he perceived the fact that this was crossfire and he needed to get the hell out of the way. The minute that he observed the gun in his hand, I believe he would have been justified in using deadly physical force at that point. This guy is a known felon, right? He's got multiple warrants. He's a violent person. He's got violent warrants out for him. He's got a gun in his hand. That's enough in my book. Action versus reaction. That dude could spin and start shooting before this officer could react. If we're standing face to face with each other, like a foot between us, or a couple feet between us, and I hold my hands out and you hold your hands out, and we have our palms facing each other, and your palms are facing down so that the top of your hands are pointing to the ceiling, and I got my hands under yours, palm to palm almost, not exactly touching, but pretty close, and back of my hands are pointing to the ground. I can look at you and tell you I'm going to pull my hands out from under yours and smack the shit out of your hands. And then do it. And you will not, the majority of the time, you will not be able to pull your hands out fast enough to prevent me from slapping the top of your hands. Now, we do it enough times in a row, you may get lucky and get some chances in there of, jerking them back really quick before I can slap them. But the majority of the time, I'm going to slap the shit out of your hands. It's action versus reaction. The person who gets to initiate that action generally gets to win. So this dude could turn and start shooting, and this officer would be behind the curve. So the minute that gun is in the hand and it is observed, and he's given that command, drop the gun, he doesn't drop the gun, guess what? He is a deadly physical threat. You use deadly physical force to protect yourself and protect others.
On foot. Uniformed officers in 2 marked subdued patrol vehicles made the lead to run towards the access road where the 2 patrol vehicles were approaching. Officers in the second patrol vehicle saw the suspect running in their direction with a gun in hand and drew their firearms. The officer driving the vehicle slowed down and shot twice through the windshield of the patrol vehicle.
So this guy's got shorts on, this other dude's got shorts on. I'm not a big fan of shorts for work purposes. Yes, shorts are comfortable in the summer. They feel good. You get better ventilation. But what if you got to go to the ground? You got to get on your knees. Like, you want something covering the skin down there. Pants need to be worn, in my opinion.
Striking the suspect. At no time did the patrol vehicle hit the suspect. Here is body camera footage. Did the patrol vehicle?
I mean, this guy's got a full uniform on. Why has he got to wear a full uniform, but not this guy? Because he's in an actual patrol kind of uniform. That's kind of the requirement. This guy, because he's some kind of special officer on some special team, he gets to get away with wearing shorts, and as does the other guy. Just because you can get away with it doesn't mean you need to be getting away with it. Like, you need to be wearing pants.
Vehicle hit the suspect.
This guy, definitely. Like, this guy failed the act, for sure. Like, why did you not fucking smoke this dude? Like, this dude is coming at you. He's got a gun out. What else do you need? Do you just need him to start shooting at you before you act appropriately? I mean, the other guy, yeah, I do believe the other guy should have shot. But I can kind of see, some of his justification into not doing it because the guy had his back turned to him. Okay, well, I still don't have a problem shooting somebody in the back. I see no issues with that whatsoever. But I can kind of see, his argument about, why he wouldn't want to shoot. But this guy right here, he has no fucking excuses. None. Why did he not shoot? He should have been shooting at this point. This guy's coming at him with a freaking gun. What I just talked about, action versus reaction, this dude could have very easily have shot this officer as he's coming towards him. So this is a failure to act, in my opinion.
Drop the fucking gun!
Running, what the fuck, guys? Running.
Yeah, yelling at him, drop the fucking gun, yeah. think he's going to listen. Should have smoked his ass when he had the chance.
Here is body camera footage of the officer.
All right, so this officer, this dude's, he switched on. I like this dude. I don't know damn thing about him, don't know his name, nothing, but I can tell that there's one of two things going on with this guy. One, he takes very serious the training that is provided to him from his agency, and he immerses himself into it. Second possibility is he still does that, but also actively seeks out opportunities to go practice and train on his own dime. So whatever qualifications this agency has for firearms, I don't know if they do it once a year, twice a year, 3-4 times a year, I have no idea. I guarantee he probably shoots more than just those allotted times. Would not be surprised if this guy is either on a specialty team within the agency, like he's on their SWAT team or something, or if he has gone and taken some additional training outside the agency on his own dime. It's just a gut feeling I've got. Number one, he's got his rifle out. It's not in the rack. It's not, in the magnetic mount or anything. He's got the damn thing out. He's got it between him and the console. Sight caps off. And if he's got it this far, I would not be surprised if he's got it charged and ready to go. And it's also possible that he could have had some military in his background as well, like something beyond just, like being a truck driver or a cook or something like that. Like he's probably, probably had some actual combative training in the military beyond just what basic was. So something's going on with this guy that makes him just, I think, a little bit different. And the fact that he recognizes dude has a gun, he's coming towards them, he's a deadly physical threat, he acts appropriately. He shoots through the windshield. Now, I do not think that he is that badass of a shot. I mean, he could be. Don't get me wrong. He could be, but knowing what I know about shooting through auto glass, so even when the target is close up, when you fire your gun and you send a round through that windshield is glass, laminate glass. It is a sandwich of materials. And so when a round goes through it and it touches all that stuff has an effect on that projectile and its trajectory. And it throws it off a little bit. It deviates its course. How it deviates it, how much, it varies. Up close, you can tell that it's off a little bit. And as you add increments of distance, it's off a lot. And in fact, something like 20 feet away. Like if the target is 20 feet in front of the car and you're aiming at it through the windshield and you fire one round, you're probably most likely not going to put a round dead center of where you were aiming at. So there's that issue. There's the issue of the car is moving. It's in motion. He's vibrating. He's moving. He's shooting one-handed. And the bad guy's moving. I guarantee you, if you took if this windshield did not exist, if it was not there, I actually wouldn't be surprised if he missed. I think he got incredibly lucky shooting through the windshield. I really do. I think this was just a simple roll of the dice, and he got lucky putting a round into this guy. Because there's just too many variables involved with, like I said, the car's moving, he's shaking, he's vibrating, he's shooting one-handed, the dude's moving, the round goes through the glass, which we know is going to deviate its trajectory in some way. I just do not 100% believe that this was what's the wording I'm looking for? Because obviously he intended to shoot the guy, but I just don't believe that this was him actually making the hit that he intended. Like, I think that, like, if you could, go back in time and do a 360 scan of the environment and yada yada yada, some like high-tech Star Trek reenactment of the scene kind of stuff, I would suspect that most likely, as he was aiming his gun out, and you could see like a laser beam coming out, like it's all over the place, and it probably wasn't even on the guy at the moment that he was, as he was going to pull the trigger. Like, it was probably off of him somehow. That sounds kind of unclear, I guess. I don't know any other way to articulate that. I just don't think that. Definitely don't think he could do it again. Like, this is one of those 1 in a million shots. Like, just a roll of the dice. Like, he got lucky hitting that guy.
Officer who fired at the suspect.
He's running.
Okay, right. Stop. He's got a gun. He's got a gun. Gun. He's got a gun. He's got a gun. He's got a gun.
But damn, does he have some fucking bragging rights now. Like, holy shit, man. That's a hell of a shot. Hell of a shot.
Here is a slowed-down version of the suspect holding the firearm.
Almost looked like he was waving.
Version of the suspect holding the firearm. Here.
Let's see if I can slow it down even more. Let's go playback speed 0.25. Drop that volume.
Here is a slowed-down version of the suspect.
It does. He's got his hand up, and you see his fingers praised, like waving, like, "Hey." That's wild.
Holding the firearm.
Yeah. Phew. Should have shot.
Reported to a local hospital where he was pronounced deceased. Here is a local hospital where he was pronounced deceased. Where he was pronounced.
See if I can slow this one down. Oh, that's not the one I want.
Pronounced deceased.
It's hard to tell where he gets shot at. I wish they would have been a little bit more clear about
Was
where he got hit.
pronounced deceased.
Let me go back. Is it this one? I thought that there was a clearer view.
Here is this.
So, kaboom. There goes the round. And then this is where they pause it. I think it's possible dude took a round to the head. Because, I mean, he immediately just goes to the ground. And so, like, even under those conditions and making a headshot, like, no idea, like, how you'd, calculate the statistics on that, but, like, the saying of 1 in a million, like, this is definitely like a 1 in a million kind of shot right here. Yeah, I think he popped him in the head. You can just kind of see him. He just drops, and you see he just looks limp, like his head just like a doll. Let's go back to this.
Officers in the second patrol saw the suspect.
That's nice. Okay. Alright, so that one's not very clear. Yeah, I think he took one to the head. Because he just instantly drops. Lucky shot. Bam. And then they throw the blur box. Like, I hate when they do that. All right. Not much else to say about this video. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching.